like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for the White Paper Library. And so we have been diligently, weekly, going through and doing a podcast on the different white papers that are out there. So we've gone through phase one and learning to think differently. Cheryl, on these, how are you doing on internalization? How are you doing on, how do you make sure that each one of these, there's something in each one of these that's impacting your life, on an ongoing basis? It's not just kind of read and then we move on to the next one.
It's funny you should ask that, Mark, because this morning as I was reading this leverage and watching a couple of the videos that are in there, I was thinking to myself, how do I really 100% completely internalize stuff like this stuff and a lot of other things in life?
And what did you come up with?
Nothing as of yet.
So this is it's interesting, like the background for the leverage. So, going through life, probably, I don't know, this probably would have been, so we're coming up on June 17th, which would be the 5th year anniversary of Jonathan's death. And I think this course was just maybe right. I don't know if it had even been finished. And so Tom Kuntz and Peter Miles. So you probably all know of Tom Kuntz, most recent past president of Century 21, it's the largest real estate franchise in the world. But Peter Miles, met him a number of years ago. I don't know how many years it's been, but he's the past board member of BMW. He's the past president of Rolls Royce. So those two guys and I did a course on leverage. So the magical arts of motivation and manipulation. So most people positive. So positive's highlighted because most people think of, motivation as being good and manipulation as being bad. You can motivate somebody to do something bad and you can manipulate somebody to do something good. And so, I love this quote from Picasso: learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. Like that just, so I don't know if I've ever had anybody say to me, Mark, what does that mean? Like, like, like when I saw that, I'm like, man, that is so true. So a lot of times, in business or, even in life, like teenagers are like, they're wanting to break the rules. And it's like, well, first follow the rules, master the rules, and then, you can go ahead and get in a position to, break them like an artist. And so, the leverage is just, it's like kind of, I was thinking after all the unlimited bandwidth and all of that kind of stuff, it's like I need to learn how to get more done. Like I need to learn how to get more done. I need to learn how to, leverage the 7 T's: time, talent, treasure, trust, truth, temple, and thought. And from leverage came engineered clarity. And from leverage, the course, it came. So if you haven't gone through the course, for sure, I'd recommend you do that. It's a phenomenal course. And so, and that's where the quantum thinking model came in. I mean, all kinds of models came in as a result of that. And so, connecting back into, so when you look at, ask a question and then present a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole model here came from developing this course. And then we go into, the Q&A, what if I don't feel I have time for leverage? That's probably when you need it the most.
Right.
So, when you break down each of these, when you break down each of these, like our intentions and our capabilities. Tom, when he first saw this model and I explained it to him, he's like, man, this thing is crazy cool. I'm like, right? And it's like, so you break down the entire, all the different aspects of it. You really understand. Like people think they're asking questions. I've got a friend who thinks he's curious, and I mean, maybe more than average, but he doesn't ask a lot of questions that like it doesn't seem like he is. We think we're good listeners, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, are we? We think we see things, but do we?
Right.
There's DJ is, buddy.
Huh?
How you doing, friend?
Really good.
Good.
It's a bug.
It is Mark. It is Mark.
Click there.
CJ, Mark had a birthday the other day.
Yeah, Mark had a happy birthday.
Ooh.
Yay.
You were at my birthday party last year.
Mark's house. Go to Mark's house. Yeah. So
Right? That's what I'm saying, CJ. You're with me. Like I thought, I went, my birthday came and went. There was no party. I'm like, wow, I guess I only get one party my whole life at my 60th, or I have to wait another 9 years. Like, thank you, CJ, though. Your thoughtfulness has made my whole day. So, like with, when Tom asked why there were red lines around here,
Yeah. Okay.
when he asked why they were red lines around here, and I said the red line represents personalities, he said, of course it does. And so listening is red, and then it goes ahead and like goes through. And so everything we see, think, and do, everything we do, think, and see, everything we think, do, and see, any combination of those three things, the listening is based on personality, but then it comes through. It's like a conduit, like water in the floor or heat in the floor. And he just laughs and he's like, of course it does, Mark. He's just so Tom like appreciates the art of what it is and how do I present the best solutions. So, it's just, but it's like, how do you get people to appreciate it? How do you get people to appreciate, how do you get people to appreciate the work that's gone into it, the artistry in it? Like, I don't know,
Your stuff, please. Or you have to go in the living room.
so I'm not sure. Anything else about this, Cheryl, that you can think of?
The one spot, I can't find it right now. The one spot was saying how getting people to trust you. I don't remember where it was.
What was the essence of it?
it was something about then people learn to trust it. I don't remember the beginning of it.
Yeah, and I don't remember that specifically. What I like about what I like, and when I say I like, it's never happened, but someday it will. Someday this is going to work where people are going to read it and they're going to email me and said, Mark, I read the leverage, white paper, and I went through it and I read it and it's not working for me. It doesn't work. So that's never happened. And so, why hasn't that ever happened on any of the white papers?
Why hasn't it?
Because I think people don't expect, like, a book isn't supposed to change your life forever. A white paper isn't designed to courses, and people aren't looking to change their lives forever. So they don't have any expectation.
Okay.
So I expect this white paper to change people's lives. They don't. So their expectations of themselves and their expectations of the white paper, they're much, much lower than mine. Or they don't have any expectations at all. And so I wish that somebody would do that, read a white paper, read a book, read one of the stuff, go through a podcast and say, I went through this, it didn't work, Mark.
Okay, so maybe I have to do that with the internalization.
Right? Elaine, any questions or thoughts that you have on leverage?
I wish I would have read this before I would have done the internalization because it connects into it together.
I think so too, and that's why it made me think of the internalization so much.
Do we have one?
Be careful.
We don't have a white paper on internalized. We just have that one.
Yeah. See, and these things are kind of interconnected, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're kind of interconnected because, internalization came from leverage, the course. Like it was, I don't know, a couple months into leverage the course that we were creating it. And I came to Tom and I'm frustrated and he's like, why are you frustrated? I'm like, I tell people that, like I explain something to people and they go ahead and they say they understand, but they don't. And I said, it just irritates me. It's like, I don't know what to say. Like, I can't say you don't understand because that would create a little discomfort for them. And they wouldn't believe me. They'd just get ticked. And they're like, I do understand. It's like, no, you don't. You don't shoot. I've created the thing and I don't even understand. I don't understand. Like if somebody says, do you understand the internalization model? I say, obviously not.
Because I think there's very much that red line very much needs to be mentioned and connected into the whole internalization when you explain it, because that has a big picture or that has a big piece of the internalization that goes with your listen, see, think, and do.
Right. And this is where, the flawless thinking model, is just intriguing to me. But I don't know. It's like what you're experiencing as you go through this podcast, if you're thinking Mark doesn't know what he's doing. Like in this podcast, I don't like it. Well, then you're thinking what I'm thinking. So welcome to my world. Like I don't like this podcast now, and I don't know what I'm doing. And so questions. I mean, when you get into that situation, you say, boy, I wish I'd have known that before I went through, through the internalization model and the video and stuff. Well, then do that, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. You intrigue me.
Nice, right? So this is where, like, the internalization, like, it actually came after, but we put it before, but I didn't put it where I wanted it. I didn't like internalize here. I didn't put this where I wanted it. Where'd you want it, Mark? Thanks for asking. I wanted it the first thing. I wanted it all the way up here. Because what good is what good is going through any of this stuff if you're not going to internalize? Like if it's not going to be life changing, like Linda Brakel, my international speaking coach, you probably all heard this over and over again and again, over and over again. And she's like, you don't write a book to bestow your wisdom on other people. I'm like, okay. She says, you write a book to gain deep wisdom and understanding on the topic you're writing. I mean, when I think it's almost been what, I don't know, four years that we've lived here. And so 4 years from the clean windows and still don't have the book. Clean windows, learning to see things we can't see. And it's like, so it's so frustrating. I've never had a book. I've never had a book that's given me so much issues. I mean, it's
Why,
interesting.
why is that? Like,
Why is what?
why why have you never had anything that's frustrated you so much? Like, what is it about this thing that is so different? What is it about the clean windows that is so different for you?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
If you accept that answer, that's probably the best answer you're going to get. If you don't accept that best answer, if you don't accept that answer and you push harder, you'll probably get more.
So why do you think that that is? Is it because you want it condensed, but yet all the information, or
I'm just tired of, like, I go back 37 years and I think of this, cute little 22-year-old girl who comes dancing in to the kitchen. So, when I'm around Norman and Marissa, and Marissa's comes dancing in, this cute little girl comes dancing in and says, "Hey, you wanna you wanna know what I oh, this is the pink, Cheryl. So she comes dancing in and she's like, you want to go ahead and, like, I read this really cool book. You want to hear about it? And he's like, no. She's like, whoa, that's the pink. And so,
Why is that pink? He was honest. He didn't want to hear about it.
right. So how is she supposed to respond to it? His honesty.
Thank you.
So his honesty revealed his immaturity. It revealed his immaturity, and he just doesn't understand. Understand what, Mark? Good question. Like my girls, when they were little girls, like when they were little girls, and I would go on date nights with them. I don't know, they're 8 years old or whatever they are. Well, they're the age my granddaughters are, almost 7, 8 years old, and what do you know? Like the date night, like Ginger, like the story, the whole warm belly rub, and so he doesn't understand. He just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. Poor guy is clueless. He's just clueless. He just doesn't understand. So, I mean, when I ask my girls what what do you want to do on a date night, sweetheart? And they say, watch Barbie. Am I supposed to be honest with, an 8-year-old girl? I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to watch Barbie. Barbie is the last thing in the world that I want to do.
But you also know that that's what makes the connection is if you watch Barbie. So it's not, I don't think it's necessarily about being honest on that part. It's
Right.
about making that connection.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but he doesn't know that.
Who, Norman?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
So Cheryl's principle's still right. Like, it's still right. Like, he should be honest, but she doesn't know what to do either. He's clueless and she's clueless. They're both like she's hurt.
So a different way he could have done that would have been to say, or in my perspective, would have been to say, no, I really don't care, but since you care, then yes, I want to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
With her excitement on it, coming in there and like, do you want to hear about it? And him, that shuts her down. I get that. I get that. I don't know. I think I'm not explaining completely what I mean about being honest all the time. And I don't know how to do that.
So now you understand flawless. Now you understand clean windows.
Okay.
Now
That,
you understand my feeling because you have the same feeling. It's empathy. It's like, oh, like, like I'm not able to find words to get it. Like people just like when I was in, middle school, I didn't like any subject, maybe other than recess and maybe gym. Like I didn't like any subjects really. I just didn't like them, especially science. But it was intriguing to me. Like, Elaine doesn't even know this. Elaine will be shocked. I had to dissect frogs.
Ooh.
yep.
Like, so you're like, how's he had to dissect frogs? And this is probably why there's so much trauma in my life.
How could you dissect frogs just because it wasn't there wasn't any blood there, or how did that go?
Well, because I had to do it, and probably had some ego at that time, and didn't want to look like a wussy boy. Now
Gotcha.
I don't have any ego. Like I don't care what people think of me. Like whatever. And so, and so when I have a microscope and I look at water and I look at different elements and I see stuff moving around, and you don't ever want to drink water once you see what's in water, you're like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff in water. Um, but then you go ahead and you realize that your desk is moving. Is your desk moving? No, no, it is actually moving. Like the molecules in your desk are moving. You can't understand that. You look at it, I'm looking at my desk, it's solid, it's not moving, but it is, but I can't see it. And it's like, so in relationships, there's all this stuff, Norman, and there's all this stuff, Marissa, and there's all this stuff. There's all this stuff. And so, I can't wait to do the next podcast because I've had some time to ruminate, to noodle, to think through this stuff. And I'm so I got, like Ginger Ann, the whole story of when she was 5 years old. And one of her goals on her Action Vision plan was to go ahead and have a date night with Dad. It's the winner story when I speak publicly. Man, people love that story. Holy cow, especially women. Women they swoon over it. I mean, they're drawn in so much. They're just like, wow, I wish my husband knew that. I wish my boys knew that. I wish my dad knew that. I wish some man in my life understood what Mark understood. They absolutely are intoxicated by that story. And so Ginger Ann, she's 5 years old, and she's got a date night with Dad. And I don't know, it's a week out. And she's like, Daddy, I'm looking forward to the date night. Me too, sweetheart. Is that a lie? I mean, I am, but might not, but I am, and so then, it comes down 3 days, 2 days, one day, and it's the big day. And Rosanna, she sees Ginger Ann and Ginger Ann's looking forward to the date. So Rosanna calls me, and have you ever had, a morning that was really rough? Man, that morning was rough. Like, man, that morning was rough. Holy cow, was that morning rough. In the afternoon, so she calls me at noon. She's like, hey, just wanted to remind you, like, she's got my back. She's like, just want to remind you the date night with Ginger Ann tonight. I'm like, yeah, yep, okay, got it. Yep, all right. I mean, here's this little, 5-year-old girl that she's looking forward to a date night with her dad. And the afternoon is brutal. I mean, it's just brutal. Like, that little girl, she doesn't understand how hard it is to be a dad. She just doesn't. And she shouldn't. She's 5. And so afternoon, I'm driving home, and I'm like, and I come up with excuses. I come up with, like, I'm not in the mood to go out on a date, but I rationalize it. And I'm like, I'll reschedule it. I'll do it another time. It's not that big a deal. I mean, we'll do it next week or whatever. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and come home. I'm going to come home. So this would have been 31 years ago. So I'm going to come home and I'm going to explain it to Ginger Ann, and she's going to be fine. She's going to understand, like, hey, stuff comes up, and he's tired. He's exhausted. Like, it's in her best interest not to have the date. It's not for me, it's for her. And I twist it all around in my head. So, I'd have been 30 years old. So I'd have been 30 years old. And I knew I'd have to explain it to my wife too, because she's all excited about the date. She's not going, she's just excited. She just thinks it's really cool that her 30-year-old husband is caring enough about his daughter. Men don't get that these days. They just don't. There's not a lot of men. Dads don't get this. They just don't. They just don't understand. So I got it all mapped out in my head. I know how to sell, Ginger Ann. I know how to sell Rosanna. I'm going to come home, relax. I'm entitled to an evening off after a day like today, after a week like this week. Like, I'm entitled to it. Like, this is crazy. Man, this is hard. And I opened the door, and at the door, there's this little girl with a dress on and her long white coat. And her mother is standing beside her. Men today are stupid. They're just stupid. I'm just saying men are stupid. They're just stupid. Like I I take one look at Ginger Ann and then I glance at her mother and I realize, Mark, this is not in your own best interest to reschedule this goal. Like it's just not.
Right.
You're like, so honesty, I wasn't honest in saying I had a long day and and I don't really feel like going on this date. And I think that was smart of me. I think that was really, really smart. Like my feelings, my feelings are not that important. They're not important at all. What's important is my 5-year-old daughter and my wife. Like those two, they're important. I'm not. They don't build men like this anymore. They just don't. And it irritates me a lot. All of a sudden, there's this burst of energy, you know? And I'm like, wow, I'm so looking forward to it. Like, bam, it just kicks in again. They don't build men like this anymore. I mean, they'll go ahead and play games and they have bursts of energy when they're playing games. And all it is self gratification. It's for your own benefit. You're delusional. It's just crazy. So I get the energy, pump it up. We get in the car and we're driving to Marine Calendars. And Ginger Ann's just chattering about, all the things that little girls, 5-year-old girls chatter about, his friends and all kinds of stuff. And I remember like all time just stood still. And like I had gone on dates before with her. So this was not the first date. There are many other dates. But I don't remember any of those other dates. I know that they were there. I just don't remember them. Now I don't. But that date I do. In part because I didn't want to go. In part because I put her and her mother above my own interest and won both of their little hearts. So we get to Marie Callender's and we sit down and she's still talking. She's just, man, little girls talk a lot. Oh, I love little girls. And I don't have to talk. I just sit there. I don't have to talk. Like, man, she talks and talks. And, we order the food and she's still talking. Wow, is she talking? And then they bring the food. And she just stops. And she's like, Daddy. I'm like, yeah, honey. She's like, how come they brought the food and we haven't paid yet? And I said, well, honey, in really nice restaurants, you don't pay for the food until after you get it. And she's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So it also reveals where I had taken her before on dates. So I'd gone to McDonald's or wherever. And so you pay for the food before you pay for the food, you get the food. But in nice restaurants, you get the food and then, I mean, who observes that? A little girl.
Mhm.
How can she be talking about all the things she's talking about? And how can she observe something I've never even thought of in 30 years of being on this planet? I've never realized that particular piece. It's like, that's just funny. That is just funny. And, you know, I don't remember what we talked about. I remember what she did. But that little girl now is a 36-year-old woman with 6 kids, and she adores her dad. I feel bad for her husband. I really do. How is he supposed to step into those shoes? How in the world is he supposed to step into those shoes? So inadvertently, like I make it harder for her. Or my other son-in-law, Jason, is raised Amish, you know, Amish men are a lot like Englishmen. They sometimes they don't connect the dots so well. But Melissa, I wouldn't say makes her husband. She she strong arms him to take their two little girls out on dates. And he does it, I think, without much resistance. And so I don't know. I don't know. It's just like it's just weird to me. I mean, the connection I have with my four daughters are just, I mean, one of my friends said, Mark, he said, and he's only met Melissa and Ginger Ann. And he says, you've done something right. You have done something right. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, man, you have strong daughters. Wow. I don't think they're strong because of me and how I've raised them. I don't think. I think it's different than what he thinks on why they're strong. And so, here you have 26 elements in flawless thinking. 26 different elements. You have thousands of sub-elements in this thing. I mean, this thing is crazy. But to see, like, of all those 26 elements, of all those thousand things, like if you don't see, like if you don't see, people won't do without seeing. It's crazy. They've got no faith. Like Christians, especially, it's like, without faith, it's impossible to please God. People won't do anything without faith or without knowing what's my result. What am I going to get? It's like, what are you? So they won't do anything. So because they don't do anything, they don't see anything new that they're not seeing, and they don't think outside. Like Patrick, a friend of mine, he goes ahead and comes to Coffee Connection. And afterwards, I asked him, I said, did you like? He said, I really, really did like it. So if you're watching this and you don't have a Coffee Connection, I'm telling you, get a Coffee Connection. Because of my good friend Cheryl, I'm becoming more honest, so I can be honest. So start the Coffee Connections with one person. That's what I do. Start it with one person. And I love Coffee Connections with just me and nobody else because there's nobody stupid. Just me. Just me. And I get a chance to go ahead and talk to myself and I tell myself, Mark, you're stupid. You're missing stuff. Well, what am I missing? I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm missing a lot. Like I'm not seeing a lot. I can't figure it out. Like Alvin goes ahead and I meet with him every Thursday and he tells me that I'm like, I don't want to write this stupid book. I don't want to write this clean windows book, learning to see things I can't see. Like I don't want to write it. He says, so, well, then don't. Okay, I don't. So I stop. And, I'm sure when I get to heaven, if I go to heaven, Baptists hate when you do that. You're like, well, let me explain eternal security with you. Let me explain. Really? You think you understand everything? You think you understand God, an infinite creator? You think you do? Really? Probably go to church every Sunday. Just, man, people are stupid. They're just stupid. So clean windows is of these 26 elements, there's something here and I can't find it. I can't find what I'm looking for. And it's impacting a lot of people because I can't find it. Questions, ladies?
No.
So I wonder, you know, I wonder with Norman and Marissa, I wonder if I should write with them, you know, clean windows for young couples. Like, I see what's going on. I love that they're willing to do podcasts on it. Like chicken soup for the soul. There's chicken soup for the dog lovers show. Chicken.
I was
There's
just when you said that about that, that's the first thing that came to mind, chicken soup for the souls. I'm like, clean windows for
it is. It's clean windows for men. It's clean windows for women. It's clean windows for pastors. It's clean windows for,
yeah.
married couples. It's clean windows for divorce. It's clean windows for the broken heart. It's like clean windows for all kinds of stuff. It's like a whole series. It's like hundreds or thousands of books. It's like, and so maybe it's not, maybe that book, you know, maybe that book is going to be written after I pass by somebody else, which is cool. I just want people to see. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I'm exhausted with people not seeing. Like, how can you not see? And they don't even know they don't see. So on the coffee connection, you go ahead and start out with yourself and you ruminate. Like in Ford versus Ferrari. Mr. Ford says, my granddad said, he'd walk home and ruminate. Like you think about your life. Think about what's going on. Think about it. And then you go ahead and bring one other person, somebody that you enjoy. So if it's only you two and that's it, there's only two people that come to your coffee connection, you'll enjoy. That's how Tom Coots and I are. I can't even tell you how many times, he and I have just started talking once a week for 30 minutes. And all of a sudden, all these people start congregating around us. That's our coffee connection. You just get people coming and they just start attending and they just start connecting. And so Patrick, I asked him, Patrick Ryan, I said, so how'd you enjoy Coffee Connection? He said, I loved it. I said, what'd you love most about it? He says, everybody's thinking. Everyone's thinking. So he goes home and his wife says, how was he? He says, like, it was amazing. It was really good. She says, what was amazing? It's like everybody thinks. He says, it's not like Rotary International, nothing against Rotary. It's not nothing like BNI. There's nothing, it's not anything. He says, it's just different than anything out there. There's nothing else out there. Like everybody's thinking. There's not one leader that's thinking and getting every single person to follow that leader to do what the leader wants them to do. It's not that at all. It's like everybody's thinking. Every single person is thinking. They're thinking. But people don't want to think. It's hard work. I don't know. So your one word for today, Cheryl, is what?
Internalize.
And Elaine, your one word for today is,
Fascination.
and why internalize, Cheryl?
It's just been bothering me the last couple days when I read this and then going through The Secret About Time and stuff. And maybe I am internalizing more than I realize that I am,
Oh, for
but
sure.
I want to just do it faster.
Right. Right.
Faster and
Once,
better, I guess.
right. It's like once you get it, once you understand it, it's an addiction. I mean, it is absolutely addictive to grow. I mean, my mind is just, it's just, it's like I'm 61 and my mind is sharper. I mean, it's like faster, it processes more information. It's like, oh my goodness, if this is what getting old is about, I want to get old and I want to do it faster because man, this is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, it's just like, holy cow. Elaine, why fascinating?
Because just with the leverage and the internalization and how things are now seemingly able to click into place, and I can connect more dots and I can see more of the big picture. It's the painting is clearer.
Right?
And it's fascinating to me how just bits and pieces of them give you more of a more insight.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like how can you not see this? And so like like I, like I'm a analytic driver. This man, I am a stereotypical man. I am a stereotypical man. Like you talk about stereotypes of men, I am that. I'm that. That's what it is. So how does a analytic driver analytic, how is he so sensitive to women? Why? Like why? Why is he so sensitive to women? It doesn't make any sense. And how does he know? Like how does he know how to connect so deeply with his girls? Especially my mom, love her to pieces, like absolutely love her, like adore that woman. But she was not a warm, touchy woman. Like I don't remember very many hugs. Like I don't remember that. And she not wasn't an encourager. Like she wasn't like you're amazing. It was funny. I was talking to another friend of mine, and he's my age, and he's like, my mom would have told me I was smart growing up. And then when I got in my 20s and 30s, I realized I wasn't that smart. I went back to my mom and said, Mom, here, like you told me what you told me wasn't true. It's like, unfortunately, there's some men, and men use the term loosely. I call them wussy men, where I think their moms, told them how smart they were and how good of husbands and fathers they are. And the men never realize that their moms are lying. They're not. They're just not. Just saying. Just saying. You're not. Just saying. Like, 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 and the poor moms. I just hurt for the moms because the moms. It's like your son is not that good of a husband. How can you not see that? And he's not that good of a father. He doesn't know how to connect with his daughters. He doesn't know how to connect with his wife. Like, like, girl. And so it's like, and so the men, it's like, I just like, you don't want, you want you want to go through the pain and suffering and the emotional trauma and the drama and the hurt and the pain of dealing with your girls. You just do. I mean, I am so blessed. Most men they never have a relationship with one woman like I do with my wife. They don't have one of those in their life. I got so many of those, it's insane. Not only with my wife and my four daughters, but a lot of other women. And my heart just aches. I just think, and men too. I mean, there's a young man that I've known for 3-4 years, and his dad doesn't. I hurt for his dad. Like, his dad doesn't understand what he's missing. I feel like guilty that I have a connection with that young man, and it's like so I don't know why you're not on this, weekly podcast. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I just, like, how can you not be on it? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Do you not understand what this podcast is about? So it's Saturdays. It's 7 o'clock Eastern time every Saturday. Like, this time is flowing by. Normally these things, are a half an hour. This one went longer. And so, this is what it's about. But Cheryl and Elaine, they're like me. They're selfish. They just are. I mean, and I'm just being truthful there. Like, I know I'm not supposed to say that about women because women aren't selfish, but I'm telling you, they're selfish little buggers, and they don't want you on. I don't want you on either. I'm just saying, just want these three. That's it. Don't want anybody else on, because you know what? You might distract us from something significant.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we don't want, but you're welcome here. You're welcome, and you don't have to say anything. Matter of fact, maybe you shouldn't. Like, I'm just saying, not to be mean or anything. Don't want to be mean to you. Maybe your mom never told you the truth, but we probably will. So if you have any questions, so that's Saturdays at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Go to www.ravingfan, ravingfan.net, ravingfan.net. These are part of Voices of Integrity, and so it's part of that series. But boy, we're going to be honest, and that might hurt your little tiny itty bitty feelings. And if you're a 5-year-old girl, well, we'll be a little bit more. If you're a grown man, you know what? Put your big boy pants on and stop your whining. That's what I'm going to say to you. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye. Share this with others too. I mean, for sure. And if you're afraid to share it with some man, share it with him. Just share it with him. If you're afraid to share it with some woman, especially some mom of some man, share it with her. Just share it with her. Maybe she's the key to helping that young man realize, you know what? You're not nearly as good as you think you are. And that's, you're going to pay a price for that. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.